Welcome to LTU Perspectives, a journey into the experiences, stories, and adventures at Lawrence Technological University. A student-hosted podcast filled with insights and the intriguing stories that embody the LTU spirit.
Greetings, folks. I'm Sylvester Jones. I'm here to give you this week's episode of LTU Perspectives. We have a special guest today, a guy that's near and dear to my heart, known since I was about 15, 16 years old. You know, just playing football, coming up in Southeast Michigan. But one of my roommates coming through college, one of my best friends, one of my teammates. Got Keon Sanders here with me today. How you doing, Keon?
Yes, sir, I'm pretty good. How you doing?
Doing sensational.
Yes,
So this is a guy. He's been really integral. He's been a big part of the LTU football program as long as I've been here. Been one of our premier running backs going back 3-4 years now. He's in his 5th year with the team, really coming to his own as a leader on the team this year, and it's been great to see you progress, especially from, being them 18, 19-year-old knuckleheads we were moving in the East to now. It's been great to see that. So
yes, sir.
What would you say is the biggest change you've seen in the football program since you got here with Coach Mitchell to now with Coach O?
I feel like now it's more of a family rather than in the past. It was more like, how can I get my own? I see a change in everybody wants to win. Everybody know their role. Whereas in the past it was like, how can I get mine? And I feel like that's been the biggest difference. Obviously we still new. 3 different head coaches. So right now we still building, but Coach O has been super sincere. He made it known many times that he's here to stay. And I feel like under his leadership, this football program is going to continue to grow. So
Perfect. So tell the people at home that may be watching this or the people tuning in, on their morning drive, tell them a little bit about yourself, your background, because, I know a lot about you, but a lot of people don't. Tell them where you went to high school, what position you play, and what you're majoring in here at LTU.
So originally I'm from Pontiac, Michigan. Growing up, football was like my 3rd sport I played. Played every sport you can imagine. But then football really, stuck into my heart, so I decided to pursue that. So I've been playing since I've been 6, 7 years old. I went to high school at Waterford Mott under Coach Chris Farr. Played all 4 years there. Played corner, running back, and then when it came to the recruiting process, I seen all the guys they were recruiting, Sylvester, Justin Gabriel, Nino Braza, and many more, Jaden Rembert. And I know these guys from Rising Stars that took place in Pontiac under Reggie Wins. So seeing them guys at Rising Stars as well as on social media like Twitter, I seen what we can build. So it was like, why not? And then we had Coach Locke, Shane Lockenaria. I was real close with him. So him being a coach, that was the easy no-brainer for me to come here. It's just been a grind ever since. I've been playing since I've been a freshman, trying to earn my minutes, battling injuries. Tore my ACL at the end of my sophomore year, and then missed most of my junior year, so I was able to get a medical red shirt. And then now I was able to play my last semester, whereas if I would have kept playing, I wouldn't have been able to do that. So it's a blessing in disguise. And now, like he said earlier, taking that leadership role, it's been amazing. Showing the world what I can do a little bit now, so it's been good.
Sweet. Talk a little bit about that culture shock of just where, like in high school, you're that big fish in a small pond. Like, you're one of the better athletes in your town, and then you get to college, and then, like, where everybody's good. Because I'll tell you what, like, being a player that became, like, had to join the coaching staff, like, that's the biggest thing I have to, like, get across to freshmen when they, like, getting discouraged and stuff. It's like, dude, like, those guys that are playing in front of you, like, they're just as talented as you, but they're 3 or 4 years older than you. And if you were a junior and you came and a freshman came in and they just gave him your reps, how would you feel, I'm trying to, like, get that point across. And so talk a little bit about that, because a lot of the high school kids don't really understand that once you get to college, it's not guaranteed that you'll ever contribute or play, and a lot of times that's why it's important to pick a school where the degree is going to mean a lot more than the logo that's on the chest, for whatever sports team you compete on. So just talk about a little bit like the culture shock for that, because I know you played as a freshman, just like a lot of guys you named, but like just talk about that and like having to scrape and claw.
Yeah, that was super like shocking. Not shocking because you're going to college, but it just was like
you always think not me though.
Right,
You're like I'm a little bit
change.
different, right?
Like you growing up, you started every year playing football, and you get to college, and it's like, oh, I got this guy. I'm 18 years old, and I got a guy in my position group that's 23, 22, and it's like, that grown man strength kind of kick in for them, and you competing with that. So it's just like, and then on top of that, the biggest thing is just learning the playbook. The playbook is the biggest thing because, like you said, they might be just as talented as you, or you may be even more naturally talented. But at the same time, if you don't know the plays, if you don't know the game plan, and they've been here for a couple of years, so they already know it, and you have a few weeks of camp, 3 weeks, a month of camp, so you're trying to learn all of that in 3 weeks, whereas they was learning that for 2-3 years. So coming into college, you just got to know that you have to stay the course, and your time is going to come. If you try to rush it, then you're not going to be able to perform as good as you want because you don't really know it like everybody else. So you can't get discouraged because, trying to rush the process, you're gonna lose the love of the game initially because it's like I said, you come in, you've been playing, starting your whole life, you the guy everywhere you've been, and then you get to college. It's more than just being talented. You gotta know the playbook. You gotta be a student of the game. Actually, you gotta think on the fly. All the plays are more, complex due to being able to read defenses and stuff like that. That's what high schoolers don't get. I mean, some high schoolers may come in and be able to play, but majority of the time it's a lot harder than people think. So.
Definitely, I can tell you, like, and you saw it, man. Like the linebackers we had when I got here, it was Tommy Lappin, Mitch Waters,
T.J. Gunner,
T.J. Plaga was a couple years ahead of us. Like it was tough, man. So it's hard to like get that across to like the young kids when they come in. So I really wanted to put that in there just so like if anybody like is a prospective athlete, whether you're looking at LT or another school, man, just however it goes in those first few years, just stay down, keep on working, man. You never know how it'll turn out.
That's the biggest thing, just stay in the course. Because you start to hear a lot of freshmen like, oh, I'm getting out of here, blah, blah, blah. But it's going to be like that everywhere you go. So it's like you try to build a new relationship with a whole different program when you already been here for a year, it's just setting you back because it's the same exact thing. You got to learn a whole new playbook, a whole new playing style. So it's like if you stay the course, the coaches are going to build a relationship with you. They're going to be able to see what you can do and pay more attention to you the longer you've been here. So.
Okay, so talk about that transition on the other side of things, more so being a student, here at Lawrence Tech. What was the biggest culture shock coming in? I want you to tell me yours first because I can tell you mine after.
Mine?
But like the biggest culture shock coming here as a student, balancing that workload with, being an athlete as well.
Yeah. So at first it can be kind of underestimated because, when you're in high school, you're in school for 8 hours a day and you're getting work every class. So you're doing work. Whereas in college, you're not getting an assignment every day. You might have a few assignments due every Sunday. And then what shocked me the most is me procrastinating and then getting to that Sunday and it's like, oh, this assignment gonna take me a few days to do. So that was the biggest shock. Me in high school, I was like always kind of naturally good at school. But in college, it's more you have to prepare. No matter how smart you are, you have to prepare because a lot of times you don't know what you don't know. So that was the biggest thing for me, just realizing that just because you got one assignment due Sunday don't mean you start Sunday. Definitely. I was always a do today type of guy.
Yeah.
So that was the biggest thing because then I click on the assignment, it's like, oh, this is a 3-page research paper.
You realize why they gave you 2 weeks to do it. And it's like, oh.
That's the big. Even semester projects, because they not harping on you as much.
Mm-hmm.
They just introduce it, and then it's like they expect you to do it. Whereas it's like if you procrastinate, now it's like you're trying to play catch up. So that was the biggest thing.
Definitely. For me, I would say this, and this is different because for me, I went to Grand Blanc, which was like the second biggest high school in Michigan. So at most, at least we probably had 25 kids in the class.
Mm-hmm.
So coming here, what really shocked me the most was like how like attentive the professors were because of how like small the classes were. So like it felt like I was really getting to know like these people more and like really getting more one-on-one instruction. So like it kind of felt like I wouldn't have to do as much work outside of class because like in class it's more tailored to me. But yeah, the workload is definitely crazy though. So
It's crazy.
they have to like make sure they.
It don't have to be crazy though. If you prepare, then it's like very doable.
I'll tell you this: if you're coming here and you want to be an engineer, buckle up.
Buckle up.
I'm not an engineer. He's not an engineer, but some of our friends are, and yeah. So just some of the majors here is
Interior
workload.
design and architecture.
Yeah.
And engineering. Buckle up, because like you said, we not none of those, but we got.
We'd have a lot less
and
hair
friends,
if we were.
And the way they stress out, and it's like, and they good students too, but it's just like they workload is crazy. So.
Yeah. There are no easy majors at this school, but those three are kind of. It's a little bit hectic. So you have to make sure you set time aside to be a student, and just take care of that part of your life. So what would you say has been the highlight of your senior season to this point? I feel like this should be an easy question.
Yeah. ESPN. I mean, ESPN top 10. That was the highlight of the year so far. That's a dream. Everybody see that every week, and it's like growing up playing the sport is like you want to be on that. You never really think it's gonna be you. When you're playing the game, you never think about that type of stuff. And I woke up the next morning. His dad actually text us and was like, "Oh, I seen you on ESPN." I'm like, what? Then I actually seen him. I'm like, oh, that's crazy. So that's been the highlight for sure.
Happy to hear that. I was watching that in the box, man. I was screaming like I was in the stands. It was bad to remember where I was at. That was insane.
Mm-hmm.
For those that don't know, go watch it. It's on YouTube. It was against St. Xavier, right?
Mm-hmm. St. Xavier.
About a 40-yard run. He busted out to the left side, hurdles a guy, takes it to the house.
To the crib.
It was sick.
That was crazy. But yeah, that was definitely the highlight. Because you dream of stuff like that. You dream of highlights like that, especially as a football player, like a hurdle, and then you take it to the crib.
If you could give 18-year-old Keon a piece of advice as he's moving in, for his first camp here to try to make his journey easier than it has been over the past 5 years, what would you give him, like that piece of advice that you wish you would have had then that you could give him now?
You probably heard me already say this, but you're more than just a football player. That's the biggest thing when it comes to athletes. Like, you're more than what sport you play. So if you play basketball, that's just something you do. You're not a basketball. You are a basketball player, but that's not all you are. A lot of the times when I was growing, like freshman and sophomore year, it's like I have a bad practice, it'll weigh on my mental the whole week. And then in return, that affects the way you play. But at the same time, reflecting, realizing what type of person you are, what type of man you are, gives you that next play mentality. So when you have a bad practice, it's okay. I had a bad practice this day. How can I make it better? Instead of, letting that weigh on your mental, because all you think you are is a football player. Coach O always tell us, just because you lose a game, that don't make you a loser. And that's one of the best advice somebody ever gave me, because, you could take that type of mentality in life, not just with sports. Just because you didn't get that job interview or you didn't get that job don't make you, less qualified than the next person. That just wasn't the fit, stuff like that. So just reflecting more often on what type of person I was at 18, rather than just, oh, you just a football player. And then I got hurt, and I was forced to look in the mirror because I couldn't play. So it just felt like my world came crumbling down. So yeah, just reflecting. Yeah, what type of man I was. So
That's powerful because I remember, you probably remember this. Coach Mitchell used to say something like, who you are, it's what you do does not determine who you are, but who you are does determine what you do. And I think that's a big thing because like you might be a competitive guy, you might really love to be around people and just work in a team setting, but that doesn't mean that sports is like the only place that those like skills will help you benefit. So that's real. That's real powerful. I'm glad you got to say that.
And I feel like another thing, that's why a lot of like companies like hiring athletes because the work ethic that's built in. Like just because, sports not forever. So just make sure you keep those habits, being able to wake up early, being able to show up to meetings on time. Bosses and companies like that type of stuff. That's what I like to hire student athletes because being able to handle that type of workload.
So what are your plans for post-graduation?
So finance, working at a finance firm called Hands Group, and then being able to, work my way up. I'm excited to actually get good at something else besides football. Been playing it for 15 years, 16 years. It's time for a change. I'm super complacent, satisfied. I gave it my all, so it's like it's time to see what else I'm good at. That makes sense.
Definitely. I was talking to my mom about this. I don't even know what normal people do in the month of August.
For
it's
real.
like my whole life I've been in camp, so it's just
like even when you have summer jobs, it's like you tell them right away, all right, I got camp Saturday, or like football season always start in the summer, so it's like it's gonna be new for us. So I'm excited though, being able to work out, then go to work out, get money. So I'm not really worried. Like I thought I was gonna be, but
okay. Give a little recap of this season for the Blue Devils so far for people that haven't been tuning in week and week out. For those that don't know, this guy's a captain on the team, so he's been voted. He's vetted. He can speak for the group one way or another. So
the biggest thing I'll say, we are the youngest team in the conference, so we start a lot of freshmen. And back to what I said earlier, you playing against 22, 23-year-olds who have been in a program for so long, so they're good at that scheme. So, we got a lot of talent, but, it's been kind of hard trying to put it all together because we're in one of the best conferences, NAI conferences in America. So I feel as though once, the next couple of years roll around and those guys are still here and being able to grow and into the scheme and everything, they're going to be super good. But this year, we're just a young team. That's all. Like, injuries, things of that nature. But, you see flashes of talent, every week. We can compete with everybody. But it's just being able to put it all together and play one whole game. Offense play a good game as well as defense play a good game. We was able to do that a couple times this year, but, that was our biggest struggle, just putting together one complete game. So, yeah.
It's interesting to hear you say that, man, because that's a pretty good synopsis, as they say. Obviously, I can't give too much away because I got to report to those dudes downstairs. But, yeah, it'd almost be easier if we were a little bit less talented because then you wouldn't expect – because you see it right there. It's like, we could have won that game. Like, it's only like a few – it'd be easier if it was small things. For the most part, it's stupid stuff where it's like, okay, that only happens like here.
Yeah, and because
it's like this,
it's like us being vets and being here for so long, it's like we look at it like, how could you not think of that? But it's like they're just getting out of high school. A lot of starters just getting out of high school.
It's not even like it's crazy mistakes by people. It's just like some bad bounces, man. Where it's like, oh, that's. It's like, what do I tell it? And you can't like really get upset with the guy because it's like, okay, this guy is like 18, or maybe this guy is one of the more experienced players on the field, but he's just a sophomore. It's like you got to give these guys time. So it's definitely been interesting, but I am excited to see this group when they are juniors and seniors. They're going to be. We got some really good football players on the team. Right
Another thing I feel like when it comes to football, I mean, you can game plan like. crazy game, but everything is not going to play out how you expect it to play out. So you could teach this guy one thing. Like I said, we play a lot of freshmen. You could teach him one thing, he do it perfectly, but then that IQ or that vet IQ that he may not
experience
right now or have right now, like, yeah, coach told you to, always hit this front side, but as a vet running back, I know that if the linebacker flow over too hard, it's a cutback lane, but a freshman might not know that because, he's not as experienced. Things like that all over the field. But, as time come on, next few years, I feel like they're going to be super good.
Yeah. And you can't skip any steps with anything, especially football. So
Definitely.
Okay. So this group that you're about to finish with, if you guys could leave a legacy behind, you could sum it up in one sentence, what would you say it is? Like if you could be remembered like, okay, those guys, they hung their hat on this.
Coach O always says it. He say, be physical, be fast, and just be disciplined. That's the biggest thing because, we want to be violent, but at the same time, we want to be violent within the whistle. And we want to be fast. We're not the biggest team, but, we got speed. So, let's rely on that as well as be disciplined because we're young. We can't do what, everybody else doing and go willy-nilly. We have to be disciplined. So that's the biggest thing, just being able to, people to think, oh, that group was fast, that group was super physical, that group was disciplined. That's the biggest thing for us.
So if you had, say you're sitting in front of a 17, 18-year-old high school student who's thinking about applying to Lawrence Tech for, whatever major, they can play any sport, give them a pitch to why they should apply and why this is the right place for them. As somebody who's been here throughout your college career.
The biggest thing is they care about your future. So career fairs, that's the biggest thing. Like I mentioned before, your sport is not forever. Injuries happen, things of that nature, but they put on us and they, encourage us to go to these career fairs. Many, many different companies come here and you got an opportunity to, set yourself up for the future. Being 18, you might not think about it that much. You want to be under the biggest lights and things of that nature. But, a lot of schools don't really, harp on you about your future after your sport. So that's the biggest thing, just caring about our future. Small classrooms, being more intimate with the professors, building a relationship. That's the biggest thing. Because you actually learn instead of just trying to pass. So that's my answer.
It's a good answer because it really is a well-rounded university because say if you're a kid like me where you come in and you're a business major and then you look up and it's like, I don't know if I want to work in the HR department. You want to be at a school where you can jump into a different major and know that you're not going to be taking a step back career-wise because they know what they're doing, Mm-hmm. So if you're an engineer, you want to be an architect, this is a good place still for you. If you're an architect and you want to be, want to be a filmmaker, this is still a good place for you. So,
yeah. And then there's just the name of Lawrence Tech as a whole. Getting a degree from here hold a lot more weight than a lot of different other schools. So, not just your sport.
Okay, we talked about the group legacy thing. What would you want people to say they remember about Keon Sanders, number 8, the running back, when it's all said and done?
Just a dog. Like, he's not afraid to get his hands dirty. He's not selfish at all. If I have to go in there and stay in protection the whole game, I will, as long as we get in the dub. Just a dog all around. Disciplined and strong and shifty. That's all. I'm done.
That's it? You sure?
I'm done.
All right, for sure. All right, to round it out, I'm going to ask, end on a good note. Mm-hmm. What's been your favorite memory just from the whole student-athlete experience? That's school, social life, sports, in your time here at Lawrence Tech.
Like one specific moment is when we went to Florida to play in the game, just being with like all the teammates. Another thing is just building relationships with people you would have never met. You know, you got Bronson Sula. He's from Hawaii. So it's like he's one of my good friends. And just building different relationships, you know, we're going to get in the real world. Now I know architects. Now I know engineers, accountants, things of that nature. That's why I feel like college is so important. You build so many connections because, you know, in the real world, you know, it take a village a lot of the times. You know, you may not be able to do everything on your own, but, you know, those relationships you built in college and being around people that's, you know, got the same drive as you. And that's what made the connection so strong is because, you know, me and you, we getting up for practice at the same time. We going through the same struggles. And we actually seeing that every day. Whereas, you know, in the real world, you don't see what people go through when they go home. But us, we're around each other every day. So that's the biggest thing, just the connections, for sure.
Definitely. I feel like we're at a good place to wrap. So, okay. That was this week's episode of LTU Perspectives. I'm Sylvester Jones, here with my boy Keon. And that's a wrap, folks. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you.